Welcome to Exploring Illusion of Free Will. My name is George Ortega, and I'm not here with my co-host today because I fired him 2 episodes ago. And because he's kind of like my best friend. I mean, like we still do our Manhattan show and stuff, but like he couldn't stop interrupting me, and he was kind of like losing interest. He was kind of like, the show was like, it was like the quality was declining. So it was some, I don't blame him, he doesn't have a free will, and I don't feel guilty because I actually feel a little guilty, but that's the free will kicking in. That's the free will belief. Even though I understand this really, really well, this belief is so ingrained in us, and actually I'm going to go into this in this show, that it's hard to kick it completely. But again, I'll remind myself, hey, it's not my fault. And actually, I'm not doing anything wrong, So anyway, all right, so the title of this episode is No Free Will, Why We Repeat Themes. It's actually why I repeat themes now, because I'm doing it on my own. I need another co-host. I mean, I don't need one, but it'd be nice to work with another co-host. So if you live in White Plains or surrounding area and watching this, you want to co-host the show, you want to show the world, bring the world, lead the world to this entirely new consciousness, let me know. All right, this is show number 122. Okay, so why do we repeat themes? Before I get into this, just what I usually do, I'm tired. This is like my 3rd show. Basically, when people say that we have a free will, they say that what we do, think, that stuff is up to us. That it's up to us whether we're going to do the right thing or do the wrong thing. It's up to us what we say. It's up to us what we're thinking, what we're going to what we're going to do, what we're going to have for lunch, all these things are up to us, they say. And the reality is nothing is up to us. We're people uppets. We just we do what the universe makes us do. And that's, I did it, the last show was how surreal this is, how how amazing, but that's the way it is. It's like, yeah, whatever. This is important. All right, the reason we don't have free will, very quickly, everything has a cause, okay? If everything you do has a cause, and everything has a cause, that means every cause of what you do and think and say and all that stuff is going to have a cause. And there's going to be a cause to that, and 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 a cause to that. These causes are always going back in time, okay? You don't have it's not effect cause. An effect can't come after a cause. It's got to come before the cause, and it's got to cause the effect. That's why they call it cause and effect. And I mean, cause and effect, let me tell you, it's not just an inconsequential concept. You ever hear of something called the scientific method? That's how we scientifically ascertain truth here on planet Earth. Basically, the foundational principle of the scientific method is same cause, same effect. In other words, so they'll do an experiment. If they, have the same cause for something and they get the same effect, they say, that's interesting, let's do it again. Same cause, same effect. Let's do it again. And if they do it a few hundred or thousand, whatever times, then they know they're on something. That's how we establish truth. So basically, causality, you can't escape it. Some people say things are uncaused, which is absurd because nothing can be uncaused. But, they say that they say that, I mean, this is within the realm of this question, in order to try to salvage free will, because some people can't accept that we don't have it. But the thing they don't understand, because the universe doesn't allow them to understand, it's not their fault, is that if things don't have a cause, if some things our decisions and our actions didn't have cause, that would make free will even more impossible, because how could you possibly attribute to a human being something that has no cause, or to human will? All right, so anyway, why do we repeat the thing? Or the reason this is so important, because the world is so deluded. I mean, this is who we are as people, as a human race, and we think we're a certain way, and we're actually the exact opposite in terms of our actions. All right, we're still people, regardless of whether we have a free will or an unfree will. We're still people, but the fundamental fact of who we do things, of what we do, because basically we're not, what defines us as people is not that we exist, is that we do stuff, we think, we have feelings, we have thoughts, we interact, we respond to this environment. And so like to get that wrong, to get who we are as people so wrong, it can't be that good. It really can't. I'm sorry. And like, the show I did last episode is like, it's what is it? What did I say? It's very, very strange. It's very strange that like everything is a movie, that, everything is plotted out, set in stone, but it's inescapable. You can't, there's absolutely no way to get around it. All right, so anyway, so why do I repeat themes? One, well, because like this is so new. This is so new to people. I'm trying to like, this is like about a new human consciousness. This is about seeing the world entirely differently, and it's not just that. It's that like it goes against what people want to believe about themselves. And it's not up to us really, because we don't have free will. The universe made us want to have a free will, okay? Or made us want to have a free will, so now the universe is like making us understand that we don't have a free will and making us resist this because it makes us want to have a free will. It's very strange. But all right, so like the idea is this is an entirely different human consciousness. I deserve a Nobel Prize for this. I really do. And like, I'll wait a few more years, but I'm telling you. Because like, again, like John Searle, famous philosopher, he said like for free will to be shown, to be understood, accepted, by the world as an illusion would be a bigger revolution in our thinking than Einstein, Galileo, or Newton, or Darwin, or Copernicus. This is big. This couldn't be bigger. He said it would alter our entire relationship with the universe, or something like that. And Searle is like, he believes in free will actually, so he's not all that sharp, but he's like the 13th most cited philosopher post-1900. So he's one of the top philosophers. And he's right. He's right about this thing being so big. All right, so this is huge, and like, and I guess something this big, a change this big, is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a few weeks, in a few months. I thought, the universe. When I first started, like I started a meetup in April 7th, I think, 2010 in Manhattan. It's still going on, Exploring Illusion of Free Will. It started as the Predetermined Will Society busting the free will myth. And the reason I started there, because I wanted to create a buzz about this whole thing. I knew that if I based it in Manhattan, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people go to meetup.com searching for meetups every day. The whole New York metropolitan area, if people don't know, 50-mile radius or so, whatever, has about 22 million people. It's huge. So like, I think maybe that's what I got on Wiki, whatever. Because like there's about 1.5 million in Manhattan. There's about 8 million in New York City, but then you have Westchester and Connecticut, New Jersey, a lot of people. So anyway, so when I started this, I thought, all right, come up, the academians, half of them don't get it. Half of them, more than half, believe they have a free will. Very few people write books about it, and the books they write are designed for other philosophers, and they're full of like, in psychology, there's such a thing called psychobabble. It's this nonsense terminology that like Freud did a lot of that, the id, superego, and all that stuff. It's like made up stuff. Some of it makes sense, but a lot of it doesn't. But in philosophy, it's the same thing. They have done a very, very, very bad job of understanding the significance of this topic, of understanding the right answer to this topic, and of bringing it out to the world, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I did. That's over like before 2010, I've got this on my website, causalconsciousness.com, Exploring Illusion of Free Will. This is like this is supposed to be about why I repeat themes, but I'm like kind of like doing commercials. That's all right. Before before I did what I did, with this whole initiative, because it's 2 meetups now, it's 2 TV shows, 2 books, a website, there were a few articles, between 2004 and 2010, there maybe was I don't know, half a dozen, maybe around 10 articles for the entire time in major magazines and newspapers about the topic. So after 2010, there's about 3 dozen, and this is the cover of Scientific American Mind, the cover of New Scientist, the British Weekly, the Atlantic, New York Times, USA Today, featured first time ever stories on why free will is an illusion. So this is big. So anyway, I thought that this was going to happen. I thought that with all that attention to the topic that I finally brought, to it. And again, I deserve a Nobel Prize for this universe. If you want to make me work on this, you better pay me. I thought that people would get it. But I guess what I didn't realize, what the universe didn't allow me to realize, because I'm not taking the blame for this, is people really, really like their belief. It's not just that. Oh God, we're so smart. We're so brilliant in a lot of ways. A lot of people, do things that are amazing. Completely amazing. And this is not just in science and sports and art. I saw this YouTube video of you've probably seen this this woman with these reeds and she balances all this stuff. Amazing concentration, whatever. We're smart in certain ways, very smart, but in certain ways we are abysmally unintelligent. We are and it's not us. Again, it's the universe not allowing us to get this. But I thought, causality, everything has a cause. What could be more simple than that? People don't get it. They don't want to get it because the universe doesn't let them get it. So anyway, why do I repeat themes? Because I'm working against conditioning. I'm working against the church, Catholic Church, Christianity, Judaism, that says, for several thousand years, listen, if you don't believe what's in this book, and it's really not in the Bible, I'm going to do a show on this when the universe allows me to, if you don't believe what we tell you to believe, then you're at risk for when you die, you may suffer for the rest of eternity. So think about it. If you're a 4 or 5-year-old kid and your parents and your minister and your rabbi, whatever, are drilling this stuff into you, it's gonna probably deter you from thinking things through for yourself. You probably say, yeah, I better play it safe and just believe what they tell me. So you've got a lot of people with good reasons in their mind, they believe there's this place in hell. How could you believe that a God would torment somebody eternally? That's horrible. But if you believe that stuff, then it makes sense that this, that you wanna believe what they compel you, what they threaten you to believe, or else. So anyway, all right, so people and it's beyond that. People it's not just the religion. It's not that they don't understand causality. It's that we like to feel that we have a free will. I wish I had a free will. I mean, there's negative thoughts that go into my mind routinely. I can't avoid them, and it's not like I haven't tried. Before this show, I did a show on happiness. 138 episodes, 3 years. I worked on my happiness. When I started the show, it was 80, 85%, whatever. That was my happiness level. 3 years later, I was at 100%. I know it doesn't make sense logically to be at 100%, but that's how I felt, and it was sustained and stuff, and I should have stayed with it. But anyway, if we had a free will, we would be completely blissed out, all that stuff. But people, we like to think that we have a free will. We like to think that that stuff is up to us, because otherwise, we think that life would have no meaning. It's not that it doesn't have any meaning. It's just the meaning's completely different. So anyway, the reason I repeat themes is one, these concepts are very foreign to people. Some people, when you say free will, they believe free will is I live in a country where I have free will, where I can say whatever I want. That's not free will. That's political freedom. Some people will say that well, nobody's making me think anything. I'm thinking when I'm thinking of my own free will. first of all, people are making you stay, like you've been conditioned by your parents and society, your language, you think in words, okay, you were taught those words. You weren't given a choice about whether you were going to learn these words or not. They were drilled into you, okay? But it's not just that. We have genetics, okay? So it's basically, people say like, I have a free will if like nobody's making me do stuff. It's not just about people, okay? It's like causality is making you do stuff. Your genes are making you do stuff. Your imperatives, the pleasure principle, the hedonic imperative, the moral imperative, a lot of stuff makes you do stuff. So people don't really understand the concept of free will very well. A lot of people don't understand causality. And again, I've done several shows on causality. I'm going to have to do a lot more because here's the thing. Okay, you might be watching this show tonight, today, whatever, you might see it on YouTube, and you might not get it, okay? But, at another, in another episode when I'm doing a different show, basically repeating the same themes, the same points, same concepts, you might be in a different state of mind. I might be in a different state. Maybe I'm not explaining it all that well now, and maybe I'll explain it better on a better show. Maybe like you weren't in such an intelligent frame of mind back then, and then or now, and you will be, later, whatever. The idea is like, so one of the reasons I do this show is like you may not get it the first time or the second or the third or the 99th or the 999th, but you can't but get it. I mean, like, all you have to do is apply your reasoning objectively, okay? Abandon your motivated. This isn't about how you want reality to be, okay? It's about how it is. So, all right, so one of the reasons, it's like I realized that like, people are going to be seeing this at different times, and they may not get it one time, they'll get another. Another reason I repeat the themes is because, like, it's going to be a different audience. I mean, like, I upload these shows to YouTube. There's over 100 there so far, and a lot of people would see them, and a lot of people, like, you have to like do a special search on YouTube and Internet Archive and iTunes actually also. These are like audio episodes. So like, in order to get to the earlier episodes, you have to do a special search. Whereas like, if you like log on to YouTube, I mean like, I'll upload this episode, after it's aired in White Plains, and it's recent. So people, you want to basically extend your audience. Basically, what I'm trying to say is like, I have to, I keep on repeating the themes because there's going to be a new audience, each week, month, whatever. All right. Okay, what's going on? Let's see. Okay, another reason I repeat the themes, it's not just about you, okay? Because like, every time that I refute free will, every time that I explain causality, every time that I explain what free will is and what it isn't and all this stuff, I understand it better and better. Because like, this isn't just about understanding that free will is an illusion. This is like what it means that understanding free will, what it means that free will is an illusion. And what I'm saying is like, okay, I was conditioned. I was raised just like all of you. I was raised religiously, Jewish, Christian, whatever. Went to the same school system, same society, same world. And we were all really, really strongly conditioned to believe we have free will. The Supreme Court, these guys can't be that bright, Again, the Supreme Court back in 78 said this is the law of the land. We have free will. Again, these, whatever. But the idea is like, all right, we've been very, very strongly conditioned to believe in this illusion, this delusion. And so what happens in psychology, you learn that like when you have like a habit of thinking, a way of thinking, a perspective, a certain kind of like consciousness, a way of understanding the world, and you've had it so deeply ingrained in you for years and years, decades, it's not enough for somebody to tell you, listen, this isn't the way things are, and sometimes it is, but for something like this that's so central to who we are, it's not that easy. So like the idea is like for me, every time I repeat an episode, I work against the conditioning. It's not, I don't just understand this. It becomes more a part of who I am. I begin to understand the world better. And then, I'm saying this about myself, but this is for you. Like, the more episodes of this you watch, the more you think about this, all of a sudden, the world is different. God is everything. God makes you think everything you think. Your conception of God is going to be completely different. Your conception of yourself is going to be completely different. And again, like, you understand that, but once you go from understanding it to breaking the conditioning of the past, these ways we've just been habitually conditioned to perceive our world, all of a sudden, you may not like the way things are, like the Boston bombings, just like the way we treat animals, poverty, just the way people aren't as good to ourselves and each other as we could be. That still is not, you may still not like that, but you don't blame other people. You don't blame yourself. And to the extent you can do that, more habitually, when you don't have to think about it, because if let's say you get, after this episode, you get, all right, free will is an illusion, right? So what happens is, then you go home and your brother or sister or wife or husband or whatever, you get into an argument with them, right? And then 2 hours later, you might think to yourself, oh, wait a minute, I was really angry with this person, and they absolutely had no choice but to be the way they were, right or wrong, whatever. And you're saying, whoa, it kind of it absolves them. It kind of frees you from the anger and the blame toward them and stuff. So here's the thing, that happened 2 hours later. So the better you get at understanding this, the quicker that process will happen. In other words, before, let's say the argument lasted for 10 minutes, a minute or two into it, you might remember, oh, wait a minute, this person does not have a free will. I may want to be angry at God, although, there's a way of not, being angry at God if you reason it out. But once that happens, and you get good at this, the dynamics of how you address that person, you under the free will perspective, you'd say, wow, you are so horrible. How could you have done that? That was such a horrible thing. You see, when you remind yourself, when you get this, you say, whoa, what you did was still horrible, but I can't blame you because it wasn't up to you. Why is the universe making us go through this? In other words, the other person, instead of being an adversary, they become kind of like an ally. Because if the other person gets also that you don't have free will, that's even better. Because then both of you are on the same side, just reasoning out what's going on. Why is the universe placing that obstacle between you? All right. So again, basically what I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to stay on the theme, is that the reason I repeat these themes is because it's not just about understanding free will as an illusion. It's about putting that understanding to practice. And okay, the last example was on a personal basis, but this, imagine how groups of people that understood free will as an illusion would suddenly shift their, you can't hate another group of people if you understand they don't have free will. It'd be illogical. And we have in addition to the moral and hedonic imperatives, we have an imperative in us, a hardwired drive to be logical. If there's two glasses and you want to fill them with water, and one of them you realize is not large enough to fill, as much water as you have, whatever, you're not going to do that. It doesn't make sense. And so with this, if you understand that it doesn't make sense to blame another person, then that's going to help you not blame them. That's going to help preserve, relationships and stuff. Okay. All right. So again, I repeat these shows, these themes, because this is the biggest thing ever, and I can't expect that you're going to get it, immediately. And it really does help, because the more I repeat the shows, the more because I have to come up with outline for these shows. And actually, even though I repeat a lot of themes, I like to try to come up with new themes. This is a brand new theme. I don't think I've ever done a show on why I repeat themes. So basically, there are many good reasons, many necessary reasons for repeating the themes. I mean, causality, you may still not get it. You know, everything has a cause. Every human act has a cause. There's a cause to that cause. Causes go back into the past. They go back to before you were born. Obviously, things that happened, events that happened before you were born in a causal manner led up to everything you do. So, and again, you know, the reason it's important, it's necessary to repeat, the reason it's important and necessary to repeat this stuff because you haven't gotten it yet. Okay, so if you've gotten it yet, if you had gotten it by now, then we'd be moving on to the implications. Actually, these 3 shows that I taped today, you know, another one was on forgiveness. The other was how, like, reality's so strange, you know, not free will being an illusion, but, like, you can't escape it. That is reality. So, like, and because, like, once substantial numbers of people get that free will is an illusion, then we can move on to a much, much more interesting part of this. And I'm moving on to it anyhow. I mean, I'm going to do a lot more shows explaining why free will is impossible, but, like, for me, you know, it's like it's a brand new world. It's like a brand new reality. And, like, so, you know, to the extent that we all get this, we can all together, you know, put our heads together and say, well, what does this mean to our world? What does it mean to our personal relationships? What does it mean to our societal, you know, makeup, how we relate to each other as groups of people? What does it mean to our countries? You know, a lot of people will blame parents in Africa for having kids that they don't, you know, they can't afford to feed. You know, over 20,000 kids die every day of poverty, you know, under 5. And these kids are dying because, like, people are blaming their parents for having them. You know, that's sick. That's insane. I mean, it's not, you know, I'm not going to blame the people who feel that way because they don't have free will. But to the extent we get this right, we can create a much, much kinder, compassionate, and far more intelligent world. You know, because, again, just like rational world, the belief in free will is so insane. It's you know, you can't have a more insane belief. It's like, you know, to believe that we have a free will when we don't, you know, it's like it makes you can't understand the world. But I'm running out of time. 7, 6. Sorry anyway. So, like, I'm going to keep doing this until you get it, and I think you'll get it. All right. Thanks for watching.